call these. Okay. So we'll call the special Strafford School Board meeting to order of August 4th at let's see what time it is 6:15, and we'll take roll call. Debbie.
Yes.
Misty.
Yes.
Erica.
Yes.
And Kerry.
Kerry was on, but his phone died. Yep.
All right, I just have to do that. And I'm plugged into a battery pack right now, so I'm not sure how long that'll last.
Okay.
Yeah, I brought my charger and my computer home so I could do a visual, but lost power. So
yeah.
Okay, so you're all out of power too. Everybody is.
I don't know if Erica is, but Misty and I are.
I'm not.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Who says I'm not?
Erica has power.
Eric has power? Okay.
Yes.
Yes, second crown.
Just seeing what the extent was, that's all.
Yeah.
Okay, so all right, so the meeting tonight is about what we want to decide on resuming school in the fall.
Okay.
And we outlined all our options the other night, and we also had many questions. We took a straw poll with the parents, and also the teachers were there. So we have three options: complete remote, hybrid, which is a couple of days a week for some kids, a couple of days a week for the other kids, and a day in between to do a deep cleaning and preparing remote for the kids that aren't there. Plus, the other one would be full return. So those are our three options. When we took a straw vote the other night of the people at the meeting, 3 were for remote, 0 were for hybrid, and others were for, I believe there was 14 that voted for full return. All right, so I will open it up to the board now for a discussion on who wants to go with each plan and how we would proceed with the plans. So I'd like to hear the feelings of the board.
I saw the plan that Erica and Kathy put together, the most recent one where they organized. I think they organized all their notes from last week, and it seemed like it was a good plan for full return. I think the school, we're very fortunate that our school, we did that, the building addition, where we added so many more square feet to our building and more classrooms, and our school size is, just over 400 kids. I know Nottingham is at 529. They have fewer classrooms than we do. So I think we have an opportunity, looking at the Ed Week plan for the 44 square feet per student, if a population, maybe 20% of the population, does decide to have remote education for the first trimester, I think it looks like the plan that Kathy and Erica put together that we received on Saturday, that discusses full return, knowing that we should be able to, with the numbers that we have, socially distance the kids. They had all the details, it looked like, were worked out for that plan. I support that plan that they sent to us on Saturday.
Okay. That's Debbie's. Misty, what are your feelings on this?
I guess I want to reiterate that folks, regardless of what this board decides, if a family chooses to stay remote because they feel that's the safest choice for their child, that we are committed to we're committed to remote for those who choose that. Otherwise, as long as we can put all the proper accommodations in place, I would support in-person full remote. But again, emphasizing that
full return or full remote? You just said full remote.
I'm sorry. If we return full in-person, thank you, I apologize. Okay. I just want to make sure that we're able to offer remote to those who choose that. And that we're able to meet all of these guidelines as far as 3 to 6 feet, wearing masks, I want to do it as safely as possible for those who do agree to return in person.
Okay.
Yes.
Erica?
Well, I've got to be honest. I'm still on the fence. I think the pros and cons of full return and some sort of blended way out, in the big picture, in the long term. I think we are fortunate that we have small enough class sizes that we're able to consider a full return if we have the percentage of folks who stay remote. I think we can do it. I think there are pros and cons to both plans. I'm not solid yet on either plan, but I would lean towards full return if we can get all of these pieces in.
Okay.
I just add, please, Mr. Patrick, that I think it's also very important that we talk about our youngest learners. They have to be a priority. Our students with exceptional needs need to be a priority. So anything short of full return in person, I think we need to have some conversations about kids that we would need to target to bring in.
Right. So.
And Bruce, this is Erica. I just wanted to add, there's, one other thing that we could consider is some sort of transition in to build our capacity around the digital stuff. Do similar to some other districts and look at it in 3-week or 1-month increments and do a blended to start with the intent to go full if the numbers hold where they are. And that gives us some time to really build capacity around the digital and get all of that in place. So that I just put that out there as another option.
Well, whatever the vote is tonight, and whatever plan is chosen by the board, we will have to meet on the 12th to iron out all the small details, all the health and safety concerns, all the traffic patterns, and all the small details that we need to put together, and that'll be done at our next meeting. We'll have to do that next week. So this meeting tonight is to decide which route and which plan we're going to take. And I feel like Erica, that if we did a transition of getting in with the goal of full return, and I'm saying maybe 2 weeks of a hybrid, and then full return after that, would give us the time, as you said, Erica, to get technology going, to get the kids all on board with the plans of how we're doing the remote one, and then we can bring them all back, and the people that would stay remote, full remote, would also have that option. So,
should we say out loud what plan we are considering?
Yes.
We've referenced this document, and the people who are listening don't have access to it.
Oh,
Right.
the document that we received on Saturday was a full return document.
Right.
The remote
Correct.
component, yes.
I'm just saying, for the benefit of the audience,
Okay.
they don't know what we're talking about.
Okay, yes.
Okay. Could you, or Kathy, are you there? And how are you feeling, first of all? Are you okay? Can't hear you.
Because I need to keep all of these numbers open and keep track, I'm not able to pull up those documents.
Okay.
Bruce, there was another piece to that I just wanted to add. I don't know if people received the email today. The document that Kathy and Erica put together had two pieces. One was to get something out to parents to make a commitment as to what they were going to do, whether remote or send their kids back, which will help us with our numbers and setting up the classrooms. And then the second piece was coming up with looking into getting our modular for our SAU quickly so that it can be used as a health center. And I wanted to let you know, I don't know if you saw the email, that Carrie did talk to the person who we've been working with since, I guess, since the winter for the SAU. And we have a modular that is a very good quality, and the price is very good, and the person can actually get it delivered to us next week and have it installed on the pad, so that it would give us a couple of weeks to have the plumbing hooked up, the electrical hooked up, and to have the nurses' things moved in before school starts. So, and we do have funding for that, and that's another topic that when you're ready for that, I can share.
Yeah, I did see that email. I did see the pictures of the unit, and it looked pretty good. I know it will take a little modification to get it up to our specs.
Right.
The inside looks really well. The outside could use a little work on it, but if we do have the funding, that's something we have to consider depending on which plan so we are going with tonight. So the document that Erica and Kathy Pagarian came up with, our new principal, came up with was the plan to come back full-time, everybody back at the school. And the board just talked about how they felt about that. Is there more discussion on this before we put it to a vote?
Bruce, can I ask if you would be willing to clarify what you were referring to as a transition of getting in? Because I guess there's a difference to me in starting hybrid and revisiting down the road and phasing more kids in. There's a difference in that and opening school a little later in order to allow for a very thoughtful orientation and reopening process in small groups. Yeah. So I just want to understand which way you were referring to.
I'm referring to full opening. However, to ease into the full opening with a couple of weeks or maybe a couple of days might be all we need to get the kids transition into the new technology, getting the teachers used to being back in the classroom, getting our custodians on a plan of total cleaning during the day, and having that new health facility for our nurse so that she can be able to sequester any kids that may have an issue that comes in, and hopefully we can get our kids back in. Our community is small enough that, as we referenced at our meeting last week, there are only 8 cases in Strafford. We've done very well with keeping the cases down, and hoping that it doesn't pick up again and we become a hot spot. So that's my feeling. I would say, but I don't know if everybody else wants that. I'm one vote like everybody else. So.
Well, I will say, Bruce, what you're recommending or what you were suggesting is similar to what Derry's plan was. They had the first week where they had like the youngest students come for 2 days.
Yes.
And each day they added a grade so that by the end of the week everybody was in school. But so it's gradually you add a few more grade levels each day, just so everybody gets used to. And I think they were starting with the younger kids just because it's a harder transition for them to learn as opposed to the older kids.
Well, that's what I was aiming for, to ease in, coming back from March, whatever it was, 15th, 16th, or whatever it was that they went out. That's been a long time. It's been a long time since spring and the summer, and the kids will need to ease back in at first, and then hopefully go full time.
Yeah.
Thank you for that clarification. That helps me a lot. Now, if one of us were to make a motion, we're not including dates and details at this time. We will hash that out August 12th. Is that correct?
Yes, that'll be on August 12th. And I would like to ask the board if August 12th they'd like to be Zoom or in person. If we want members of the public there, with the amount that we're getting, it probably should be Zoom. And hopefully this hurricane will pass by then. So,
Bruce, can I share something? Is that okay?
What's that? Yeah, please.
I wanted to share, because I know that Deb is referencing a document that Eric and I had worked on, and I just want to kind of clarify that ultimately what we did was we left that meeting, the last meeting, hearing a lot of people talking about full full return. And so we
Yes.
really just tried to flesh out how that could look. I didn't want to suggest, I think inherently, any of the plans and any of the things that we come up with ultimately have some real benefits, and they also have their difficulties. And so
Yes.
I think we were just trying, based on what we were hearing, to see how that might look. But I also, I know, speaking just like for my staff and for the community, I know that ultimately everybody, the sooner we can just kind of decide what we're going with, then everybody can start to plan. And I think, I totally agree with you. Whichever direction we end up going, I will get right on the details and I know we have a lot of those kind of ideas already out in our original document.
Yeah.
But certainly we'll move there. I just didn't want anyone to jump to the conclusion that we were automatically saying, yes, full return is what we're recommending. We just were responding to what we heard from the community.
That's correct.
Okay.
That's correct. But
I think Erica is trying to talk, Bruce, but she can't seem to unmute herself. So I don't know if Scott Runing or Kathy could help her. I'm sorry to interrupt, but she just texted.
Yeah, I am trying to help her, but.
Yep, no, it's somebody.
Oh, thank you. I didn't mean to interrupt. I just wanted her to be able to talk.
No, that's fine. I can't see anybody tonight, so help me out too if you can. So.
Yeah, nobody's on camera, just so you know, Bruce.
All right. That's for sure. Okay. So Erica, what do you want to say?
Well, I feel a little bit uncomfortable moving this to a vote without publicly saying a little bit more of the details, and or I don't know how to handle this because we haven't discussed what the blanket option would really look like.
Right.
What we would consider.
Now's
But
the
I
time
sort of feel like at the very least we need to go over the plan a little bit verbally before we vote on it.
Do you want to take the reins on that and start?
I can, sure. How detailed do we want to get?
Well, you went into quite a detailed presentation at the live meeting the other night. Can you brush on the highlight topics of each part? Okay.
Sure. So I'm going to read this document. Folks understand, I'm not going to read this document line by line. This was not really a narrative or bullet points. So starting with the procedure, saying that they haven't had a certifying, for lack of a better word, but it's acknowledging that they haven't had a positive test, that they're pending tests. Let's see that, there are going to be stricter standards from the nurse. So basically all of that communication, we would use one call, emails, Facebook, smoke signals. We would try to get the information out as much as we can, as fast as we can. Health and temperature checks at home. There's a questionnaire that we could mail to families for the standard question, so they know, just to double check that, and asking families to do temperature checks at home. Having students cohort by their homeroom, grade levels. That's some of the details we'd have to work out for the middle school. But those sorts of cohortings, for the purposes of what we're talking about, any families that live together would be considered a family unit. In terms of if somebody needs to be quarantined, and the recommendation is that the family quarantine, that's all the children in the house. We may have to look at adjusting school hours a little bit, like 10 minutes or so, just to give the bus runs a little latitude. Masks in common is mask breaks when in your assigned space in your.
Did we lose her?
That's what I'm wondering.
Let me ask her. Let me see.
Erica, we can't hear you now if you're speaking.
I fear another victim of the storm.
Oh, boy. Okay.
Folks, can I make a suggestion that maybe might help this flow a little better? Because I'm watching the chats. So do you mind if I
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I think it's really important to get the documents out to the community in some form.
Right.
So
Okay.
they have time to review them. Yeah, Erica lost power. She's so, and I think you take that and you combine it with the fact that we're obviously having a weather event that's making our access really difficult.
Tell me about it.
Families are trying to make a decision, and I don't think this distraction helps with that. I also think that the survey data from the first survey needs to be made public along with that, with the reopening documents. And then either have another special meeting or just, or make a decision next week.
Yeah, I think you're right, Scott. This is very cumbersome. I'd like Kerry's input too. He's the fifth board member. We are the victims of the hurricane that came up the coast tonight,
Right.
and I think unfortunately we do want to make a decision. We have had a week to think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Board members should have an idea how they want to vote, but I'd rather have more input from the members and have Kerry's input. So which day do we want to just go with our next Wednesday meeting and try again? Debbie, you there?
Yes, I am. We do have a meeting on Wednesday. I don't know if I don't know how other people feel about getting it, having something sooner. I feel that parents. I think we need to make a decision, and then we need to have like a week to work out all the details.
Correct.
So I just think parents are really very anxious to find out at least which direction we're going in. Do we feel for parents that that's the direction we're going in, or are we going to not even discuss that until next week, or should we have another meeting before next week?
Those are all great questions, the same ones I want to have. So how does Misty feel about this?
I'm very worried to wait until the 12th to finish this conversation. I support Scott Rooning saying get this document to the public. I'm sure that the work that Kathy and Erica have done, we can get to the posted online tomorrow. But I don't know if there's any chance we could get together before the 12th to make a decision, unless we're going to make it with the quorum that we have in place tonight.
If we make the decision at least of the direction we're going in, could we then send that document to parents to know who is going to make the commitment to come back full-time and who is going to make the commitment for remote, so that we have those numbers for creating the social distancing in the school and all that?
Okay. We do have a quorum. We still have 3 people, which is a quorum. Are we all looking at the same direction? Debbie, how do you feel about that?
I think that I liked the document that we had on Saturday. I believe that our school is large enough to safely socially distance the children and to bring them back safely. I think that we have we're very fortunate that our class sizes are small anyway. So if we were to have what I'm seeing, and I think some of the data we received from our last surveys, it seemed like there were 20% of the population that really wanted to continue remote learning. If those numbers are reduced further, if we have 20% less students, we will have more than enough room to be able to bring those kids back safely.
Correct.
So that's the way I feel. We're unlike some of the other schools where their class sizes are larger and their buildings are smaller. Our building, we have extra classrooms. We have 32 classrooms, and we're only using, with our homerooms, I think we're using 24 or 25. So
And I just want to, and I'm sorry, Bruce, I know you were having, is it okay if I speak out?
Kathy, you jump in anytime.
Okay.
You're part of the group. Go ahead.
Okay, I just wanted to say that, I mean, I totally agree and I understand with what Deb's saying in terms of the kids. The one thing I want to be careful of is that, having all the kids back in is one piece of it. We also need to make sure that the staff are able to safely be here. So I want to make sure that we're going to have the staff to do that as well. So that's kind of the other half of that.
So Bruce, what if we were to make a motion that we would like to go in this direction, however, we need 2 more pieces of information. We need to have a commitment from what staff members are coming back into the building, and we'd also like to know a commitment of how many families intend to continue remote learning.
Okay. Misty, how about you?
I like that idea. What are we talking for a commitment? Like the 14th? I know this document mentioned the 17th.
I think we need it sooner than the 17th. I think we need to, if we're going to have our meeting on the 12th, I think we need to have that information before our meeting. You know, maybe by the 10th, 11th.
Okay.
I mean, I think
I would support that. I mean, I think families know at this point, are you staying remote, or if we open, are you sending your kid back? And then we can work from that data, and we need to ask the staff to commit as well.
Okay.
Right.
I'm going to make a motion. I'm going to make a motion that we plan to reopen school with all students coming back completely with a short transition period to allow for the adjustments that need to be made, and that we will also look for information about the commitment from families of the numbers of students that will be continuing remote education, and also a commitment from staff as to whether they will be back completely in the building.
Okay. Misty?
Second that.
You second that. Okay. Let's have a little bit further discussion on it. So what you're saying, Debbie, is that if we vote for this, we're making a commitment to have all the kids come back eventually with still the option for parents to do remote.
Yes.
And we will query the parents and staff to see how many will be in the building, how many will be trying remote. And with the transition period, like I talked about before, the hybrid model until we get everybody set. I'm in favor of that. However, we do have to reevaluate if for some reason we do get a lot of cases, and we may have to go full remote again, knowing that full remote could be something in the future too, if coming back does not work.
Right.
Okay.
I think that's important to emphasize. I think we will have to revisit this discussion on a regular basis. I mean, we could be at a point where the governor closes us down again.
Exactly.
That's exactly right. And I've been monitoring school districts that are going in all different directions. There've been some that are going full remote, some that are going hybrid, and there's quite a few actually that are trying to go back full back with everyone. So our next meeting then would be the meeting to iron out all the details on this vote of a transition and then full return.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, with this plan, Kathy, what is the date of return on this plan?
And unfortunately, Bruce, because I'm recording this, I can't pull up my document.
Okay, but it won't be the original date. It was pushed back, correct?
The start date we suggested was the 8th.
Okay, because I know that I went to the commissioners conference right after our last meeting, and he has given us 3 days, 3 free days to get everything going again, and he's given us time that we can push back from the front of the year to start a little bit later. So I know that that was at his meeting. He mentioned that he didn't make the decisions, pretty much left it up to us. Okay, so we have
So
a motion.
without our school calendar in front of us, Bruce, is that one of the details we would talk about on the 12th?
Yes.
Or is
Exactly.
that something you want a separate motion for tonight?
No.
I think
No.
they need to work out all the details before we get on the start date. Yeah.
Yeah, because we're gonna have to work out the busing details, the social distancing details, lunch details, classroom details, and then put that all together so parents know what to expect.
Right.
Okay. All right. Any questions on that?
I have a few more suggestions if you don't mind, Miss. Oh, you want to vote first?
Yes.
I'll wait.
Well, no, I'll listen to you.
No,
Mr.
it's really operational stuff that's just dependent on the vote. So go for it, and then I can jump in after.
Okay.
So-
So, all right, Debbie,
Yes.
Misty,
Yes.
and myself, yes. Is Erica and Kerry on right now?
We
No.
lost Erica and Carrie.
Okay. So it would be 3-2 if they voted against it, or it would be 5-0 if they were both for it. So our plan now is to, just like we said, a hybrid plan to start with. That could be a week, a few days. It could be 2 weeks, and then intent of getting everybody back with a review after a certain amount of time to see if we have to stop and go full remote, or if the governor pulls it and we all go full remote. Does that sound okay?
Yes, and I do think that, Kathy, if we could possibly get the plan posted on the school website, I think that would help parents. And then we're going to have to figure out who will find out the information about staff returning, and who will make the document, and how will we send that to parents, as far as the commitment, because this isn't just a survey, this is making a commitment to help us create the social distancing we need to make in each classroom and determine how many rooms we need to use and all that. Who will make that? How will we send that out? And how will we find out what staff members are definitely returning?
Yeah, what we'll need is from each parent a decision on what they want to do, and then we can know the numbers that are coming back. And we'll need from the staff, if anyone has medical concerns, a medical note saying that they won't be back, either using their days or going remote. So we'll have to figure that part out.
Right, but I think we need to get those 2 documents out soon, because if we're saying to parents, okay, we'd like your decision by August 10th, that I think having the plan on the website immediately tomorrow, so parents can go there and take a look at, this plan that we've been discussing, and then they can make that decision after a couple of days of maybe digesting the plan as to what they want to do for their child. And we need to have that commitment, knowing it would be for a full trimester. But I think we need that commitment by August 10th.
Yeah, what we'll have to do is we'll have to ask for parents' commitment, and if we don't hear from parents, we're going to have to start calling and getting which direction they want to go.
So who will make that document is what I'm asking. Are we going to ask Kathy, or who is making that?
Whoever's in the office retrieving the calls will have to do it. So.
Okay, and then what about finding out the staff, like, asking each staff member the same question? How does that work?
That's already been done. So can I just back up a little bit?
Yes.
Go right ahead.
All right, so my suggestion, the easiest way to figure out who's coming or who's going remote, right?
Yeah.
Is to modify the survey questions so you can gather all that information in one place.
Yeah.
So there's a very short survey. Jim Bono would have to modify it, asking for the student's name and grade and whether they're going to be remote or in person. But
Great.
part of that also needs to be are they taking the bus?
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And the question needs to say morning, afternoon, or both, as we try to encourage families not to reduce the amount of kids on buses, because that's probably one of the hardest space to distance children.
Okay.
Correct.
The other
Correct.
piece of the staff is the letter has already gone out to the staff weeks ago, talking about accommodations or coronavirus relief based on the federal guidance.
Yep.
Once you get your plan out, a separate survey probably needs to go out to the staff, or an email needs to go out to the staff, referencing the letter that I wrote a couple weeks ago that they all got, saying they need to get in touch with Human Resources if they're looking for accommodations or special considerations.
Should we give them a date that this is due? Should we also say August 10th so that we have?
Well, I think giving people time after the plan is posted to sort of contemplate that and make decisions is smart. If you're planning on posting that plan tomorrow is the 6th, 5th?
5th.
All right, my power's starting to flicker, guys, so let me get this out.
Okay.
That you try to get that turned around within a week. And all the board's going to get is numbers. They're going to get positions.
Yep.
Yeah.
For now. But that's already been in the works. But we need that information from the staff too, because then you're going to start matching, who's doing this and who's doing that.
Correct.
Who will send out that additional letters or surveys to the staff? Who do you suggest doing that, Scott?
I think Kathy and I can work on the email to the staff.
Okay.
The surveys is going to have to be Mr. Bono.
Okay.
And it needs to be done rather quickly. It would be nice to get the plan posted and then give them a survey link. So when people read the plan, it's fresh in their mind and they give you their feedback there.
Okay.
But that's going to be how well Kathy can orchestrate that.
Can I clarify, Mr. Rooning? Is this document that's several pages long and numbered and bulleted, is that what we're all referring to as a plan?
What Kathy and Erica sent us on Saturday?
Yes. Well,
I don't know if I would consider.
I sent it to you on Saturday.
On Saturday? Okay.
Yeah.
So that just needs to probably be polished up a little bit.
Well, that we have to work out all details and vote on the details at the next meeting. So that plan is a rough draft of what we plan to do, and then we were going to narrow everything down to make it solid for our next week, so the parents can actually know what's happening. Okay. All right. So at this time, is there anything else for this meeting except for public comments?
What do you?
Yes.
Did you want to do anything about the modular, or what are you saying about?
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to need the modular when we start the SAU, correct?
Yes, and we actually have. I spoke with Scott yesterday. Spoke with Glenn today. Carrie and I spoke. We do have that one-time special, that adequacy money, that we actually absorbed the lighting costs, from what I understand, in our budget. So we could use that money. We have that money. Part of it was earmarked for some preschool things, but we have enough of that money right now to pay for the modular, and also it will. Carrie said it will cost between $3,000 to $5,000 to have the electricity come hooked up, to have the plumber come and hook it up to the septic and all that. So, and actually the exterior of that building, Bruce, is what we wanted was to paint it. I mean, it's only because of the color. It has nothing to do with the condition. It actually is like a very thick metal instead of the vinyl siding, like the cheaper ones. It's a commercial building. So it was Carrie and I went back and forth about it, because when we saw it first in March, I had the same questions. But now finding out more about, we looked at more modulars and the different types of, like you can get a modular that's an inexpensive one, and they have like the vinyl siding and all that. This is metal, and it's heavy, and it's durable, and it really wasn't used. They had it in a church parking lot they used it for Outward Bound, where the kids just would come and store their backpacks and then go away on trips. So it wasn't like used daily. It's supposed to be in excellent condition. Kerry's been working with this man, and so he feels really comfortable. I've been pushing and pushing for more information. I feel really good about it now, and especially since we did get the price down, and we've been working with him. We got it down $15,000, so I feel pretty comfortable with that. And looking at what the new ones cost are like $150,000, and this one, you can see what the inside looks like. It looks like it hasn't been used. So
well, the inside, I have to interrupt. The inside looked really, really nice. I was thinking more of that overhead door that between.
Yes, that was
the
exactly
two other.
my problem with that. Bruce, Kerry and I went back and forth about this in March, and he said it's not a big deal. We could take that out. We could put like a double door there. It's not a big deal, Debbie, because this is worth a lot more than we're getting it for, and it's a minor thing what I was looking at. And they did that because these kids would come and unload all the stuff for Outward Bound.
Sure.
So they liked that door. And that was exactly my problem with that building. But I did not understand at the time that it was a commercial grade. And you can look, if you zoom in on the pictures, on the photos, you can see that it's metal siding, which is very durable, as opposed to the vinyl thin stuff and the inexpensive siding for some of the other modulars. So Kerry feels really good about this. Really good. We've spent a lot of time talking about this.
Debbie, it looked like a double building, so
it's two
wide
pieces.
model.
Yeah, it's two pieces, and it's 1,300 square feet, which is pretty big. It will fit on that pad nicely. It has a bathroom. It already has an office built in, and then the thought was that we can, as we think about our SAU and we start to interview superintendents and so forth, when we start looking at, okay, what do we want this to look like, we can customize for very little money, like, make a second office and then leave the open section when you walk in as your reception area. It's plenty big to have, a conference area. And there's already built-in storage in it. So, Kerry's very happy about the construction of it, and he knows this person well and feels he's reputable. If we do want to go forward, I would ask that maybe we touch base with Glenn and ask if he would help us with a purchase. I told Kerry we need to have like a contract or a purchase and sales agreement. We can't just, we have to do this in a way through the SAU with the business manager involved. So, but
Misty, how do you feel about it?
I'm in full support. I know that Kathy Cunningham is feeling like she's going to need a more adequate health office. If we do get all those kids back in that building, she's going to need places to quarantine staff or students if someone is representing any sort of symptoms. So I'm in full support of it. Bruce, I want to let you know that Erica is texting and she's trying to drive to Rochester to get back in the meeting. So just FYI.
Okay.
She's awesome. Yep.
So we would need a motion to purchase this.
Yes.
Is there one?
Debbie, I feel like you're more knowledgeable about the
Okay.
specifics of the modular.
Okay. All right. I'll make a motion that we use our one-time adequacy money to purchase the modular that we all received information on for the purpose of a health center for this year and for then our SAU office after that. And for the cost would be $50,000 to include transportation and installation of the modular.
Are you saying delivery? Is that?
Yes, a delivery and installation.
Okay. That sounds good.
Debbie, does that price include, I'm sorry if you already said this, turning on the power and the water and?
That's the $3,000 to $5,000 separate. That we have to find people to do that. We have to have our plumber come out and hook up the plumbing And
So that is not part of this motion?
no, it's fully plumbed and it's fully wired and has a heating system. It's just when they
Okay.
come, you have to hook it up. They don't hook it up for you. You have to have your other people. So we do have that money in that same adequacy grant. We do have the money.
Thank you. Then I will second that motion.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Debbie, what is the delivery time on that?
Kerry said he spoke to the gentleman who owns the company on Saturday and said he can deliver it next week.
Wow. Okay. That's good because that'll give us plenty of time to get it ready.
Yes, and I think he's already talked to Gary about it, and Gary said everything's all set to hook up, and it's just a matter of getting finding the individuals, the plumber and the electrician, to get them there in a timely manner to hook this up. So if anybody's listening, that's something that we will need.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second. Who's that? There's a further discussion. Okay, Debbie?
Yes.
Misty?
Yes.
Yeah, and myself, yes. I think the long-term plan and the short-term plan for that building makes sense. The health office this year and going to the SAU office when we break off next year. And that does make sense all around. So nice job finding that, and hopefully it'll work out.
Yes, thank you. And also, I think we need to have we need to work with Glenn. I told Carrie today that we need to see from this man a purchase and sales agreement. We need to we can't just do it without having the actual paperwork to have this thing transported. And so Glenn has to be involved. And so I will ask Scott Rooning. Scott Rooning, is Glenn still there Tuesdays and Thursdays?
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
He's there Wednesdays now too? Okay. All right. I will have Carrie. I'll call Carrie tomorrow morning and ask Carrie to contact Glenn then.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll give Glenn a heads up. I'll email
Okay.
him.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Patrick, I think we have one more thing to talk about.
Go right ahead.
I'm hoping we can talk about advertising for an assistant principal position.
Yep.
I don't know how to go about that, but I'm worried personally that process is going to take some time, and we're running out of time.
Right. My suggestion to that is I would like Kathy, principal, who is there now, who just came from that assistant principal's position, to write the job description, because she knows what the needs are for that. Kathy, does that make sense for you?
Yep, sure.
Okay, and as soon as you get that ready, let's put it on School Spring and see what kind of candidates we get.
And Bruce, I have two things. I know that we had. I think we should talk about this. One, we want to say it's an interim because everything's interim right now. And then two, okay, I want to be clear, because remember we had this situation, and I don't want to go into detail because we're in public, about the LEA, who is doing that, and then also, do we want to combine any roles right now to save money with, I know if Kathy's going to continue being the LEA, do we want to roll in, like, say, the athletic director or anything else into that position, because now is the time to create that position, or are we also looking for, I know Kathy has been like a strong background in behavior, but yet I hear so much about people talking about, we're concerned about the behaviors coming up, we're concerned. And I don't know, should we look for somebody with more of a behavior background? These are just, I don't know what, if Kathy's thought about it, anybody else has thought about any of this.
I'd be happy to share my thoughts.
Okay.
Go right ahead.
So and I say this as somebody having been in the building, and I don't want to speak for everyone, but based on what I've seen, I think most of the difficulties that we have come from, I think, the social emotional piece, and I think some of the trauma pieces. So I think that the counseling part, kind of being the proactive, getting at those before we end up seeing them come through as behaviors, I think we get more bang for our buck that way. Because I think if we continue to, and I've done lots of trainings on it, if we continue to just deal with the behavior, we're dealing with the after effect.
Okay.
Whereas if we can really get in and provide those social emotional skills and be more proactive, I think we will see a greater improvement overall.
Excellent.
Kathy, am I hearing you say maybe consider, if we're combining roles, another counselor? Increasing counseling?
Possibly more hours. I just think, I know a lot of the kiddos that we, and I know that staff spoke with several of you guys, and I certainly spoke with them a lot as well. I think that a lot of them are, kiddos coming in that may not have been school ready, or may have had some challenges, and we ended up dealing a lot on that behavioral piece. And I think if we could go at that from a more proactive approach and really kind of build those skills, I think we would, get at them early, and then we wouldn't be dealing with that reactive piece. So yes, I think what you said is exactly what I'm saying.
And so, Kathy, are you going to still be the LEA for some meetings?
I think at this point, I have to be. I think that Kim is fantastic. She's fabulous, but she's going to have her hands full with her own caseload and her own situations. And I think we have something else I think we need to talk about with regards to that. But I don't think it's possible for her to do all of that. I just don't think she could.
Okay, so I would suggest that we have Kathy write up her job description. We can review it on the 12th, or you can send it to us, and we can approve it to put on School Spring as an anticipated opening, and then see what kind of applicants you get for that job.
That sounds like a great plan. Yep.
Is there any way to get the anticipating opening up while she's working on the job description?
Yeah, well, I would on School Spring you have to put down the qualifications that you're looking for, and if you want somebody with not just a vice principal certificate, if you want somebody that has a little counseling in there, like we were saying, she'd have to wrap that into the qualifications that we're looking for.
Okay.
And I think that what we experienced with the interim superintendent position, once we got it on School Spring, immediately we were getting applicants. So they were flowing in. So it's not going to be that there's going to be, I think it happens pretty quickly. As soon as you post it, you start getting the applicants. You do have to keep it open for a certain amount of time, and then we have to wait till it closes before we review any applicants. You can review applicants beforehand, but before decisions are made, it has to be open for a certain amount of time. Okay. So, which is, I believe, 10 days. So Kathy.
Hi, this is Erica. I'm back.
Oh, hey Erica. You win the heroic award for going literally the extra mile.
Yeah, well, I'm in the Burger King Plaza down in Rochester, and there's no power here either.
Oh boy.
Yeah, okay.
So,
Erica, we did do a vote. We weren't sure you were coming back. We did vote to go with a transition period and with the intent to go full back for all the students.
Okay.
And any parent can choose full remote if they want. And we will be reviewing this plan every 3 weeks to a month, to probably a month, because our meeting's every other week. And then we'll be reviewing the plan to see if we do have to go back to full remote at some point. And then the second vote, and it was 3-0, so it would have been a quorum. It was a full quorum vote anyway. And then the other vote was to get started on getting the modular that Kerry and Debbie have looked at. with intent to be a health office this year and the SAU office next year. So.
And Erica, I think what we also talked about was that we were going to get that draft plan that you and Kathy worked on
Yes.
the website, like as soon as possible, possibly tomorrow. And then Jim Bono is going to have a survey that he's going to tweak to parents that ask that question, if you're going to make the commitment for remote and or coming back to school with the student's name. And that we would like that back by August 10th so parents can look at the plan, at least the rough draft plan on the website, and then they'll have several days to think about it. And at least then, before our meeting next week, we'll have at least as firm numbers as we can get. And Scott Rooning is going to have Kathy follow up with an email with the staff to get the full commitment back from the staff. Is that correct? Was it Kathy that was doing that?
I think it was Scott and I both.
Okay. All right. Thank you. All right.
Perfect.
Super. I will proofread for typos and stuff tonight, and then get that to who so that it can get posted.
Thank you very much, Erica.
Erica, if you need help with that, I'm happy to help.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Is there anything else for public session right now before we go to public comments?
I don't think so. I appreciate the discussion for the assistant principal. I want to get Kathy some help as soon as we can.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with that. I think we all do. So.
Did we talk about the possibility of moving the start date?
Yes.
Yes.
All those details we said we're going to talk about next week, and sort of have the remote discussion, more details about the remote, and the start date all on the 12th.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, we're going to iron out all small details on the 12th and give everything to the parents once we get that done. Besides
And again, for Erica and Kathy or whoever's doing this legwork, I'm happy to help put in some more hours or time if we need to create a timeline or a PowerPoint, however we want to. I think it's critical to get information in front of the public before the 12th.
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll help too. If you need help.
Thank you.
Just wondering, Erica, are you there?
Yep. Yep.
And I don't know if this is the best way. I know you had said get it to Jim Bono to put on the webpage. Is that document, is that something that could go on the school board Facebook page? I don't know.
I think we could get it everywhere.
Sure.
Okay.
If you want to, Erica, if you want to send it to me once you're ready, I'll put it there too.
Super. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Just thinking that would be super helpful. I think, and I know a lot of people go there because that's where they see when there's a meeting and the access information.
Okay. Or I could also put the link to the webpage too. Okay.
I also think we need to be mindful of people who aren't as Facebook friendly, webpage friendly. We may want to have some paper copies in the front office and put a sign on the marquee.
Okay.
There are people that are not tied to their computer that live in our community.
That's true.
Okay.
That's true. Okay, is there anything else for open session right now? Who is the host tonight?
Well,
Kathy, are you the host?
Scott Rooney made me the host now, which I guess means
Okay.
I am the MC.
Okay, so you're going to have to, so Kathy, once we go into public comments, you're going to have to unmute each person one at a time for any statements they'd like to make. And then we'll do everybody one time for statements. And then after that, if there's no more discussion, we'll adjourn and meet back on the 12th. Okay.
Do we have non-public stuff tonight? Don't we? I thought we had some non-public.
I don't have any right now. I don't know if anybody else does.
Yeah, I don't know anything about non-public.
No, we haven't had anything further from non-public that I know about. It'll be probably at the next.
I might have something that, well,
Okay.
being
You
new,
might.
I think it would be a non-public thing, so.
Okay.
Okay. Well, let's talk about it after we do public comments, and we'll figure that out.
And I
So,
just,
Kath,
I
you
just
are the
also
host?
want to let you know that there are a number of people who used our link, and because we had such a delay getting on, they're up as names and not numbers because they used the board link versus the call-in public link. So
Okay.
I just want you to know that I will be saying some people's names.
Okay.
That's fine.
The way that they were able to access.
Okay.
All right, and right
And-
now, I'm going to tell everybody that this is public comments. They may not get an answer. It's just comments, okay?
Okay.
All right, so Misty, did you have something?
I just want to make sure before we close this meeting that we revisit if we're in person next week.
Well, yeah, we're going to talk about that afterwards because depending on how many people.
I just didn't want to forget.
Right. Oh, I know. I haven't forgotten that at all. Okay.
Thank you.
This was just an unusual night. So, Kathy, go ahead.
Okay, let's see. First one I see looks like Abby Jacobs. If you have a public comment, feel free to go ahead.
Thank you for everything you guys are doing, and definitely get an AP for Kathy to support her and the staff. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's Erica.
I'm getting texts that the feed just went out.
Oh, I don't need to take that one.
You can read it. Your hearing is not over.
Are we there?
I'm here.
I'm here.
Any of,
I think some of the public feed went out because a couple of people just texted me.
we
I
still
don't know
have
what that means,
4
but
participants, which is close.
Kathy, try everybody one time, and if they've lost their feed, they'll have to jump in on the 12th meeting at that point.
I have, and unfortunately, any of the people who called, just an FYI, who called with the video call that are not on video, I am not able to unmute you. All I can do is ask you to unmute yourself. So I just want to let you know that I will come back to you. Last 4 digits, 1689, if you have a public comment.
Hi, yes, this is Katrina Lebrecht, 243 Drake Hill Road. Just a couple of things I would encourage us to do in person if we can at the next meeting. I know that it makes it easier to follow along if possible. I feel like the last one went pretty well. My other comment would be I like the idea of, I support going back full in person, so I'm really happy to hear that's the direction that we're trying to go. And I like the idea of phasing in slowly, starting with the younger kids. I would ask that maybe be like a 1-week time period, because I feel like maybe a couple weeks to a month is too long. I don't think we should start kids off with hybrid or whatever we consider a hybrid, being remote and in school for any sort of longer period of time, because I feel like that'd be harder. So.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ooh, it is tough to, last 4 numbers.
No comment.
5675. Okay, thank you. 2577. 2577.
No comment, thank you.
The numbers are jumping all over, guys. I just want to. 7130.
Hi, Jessica Grant, 1586 Province Road. I'd like to say thank you for all the work you guys are doing. I know this is not an easy task. And I like the notion of having the phased return, but I do just want to point out, I was at the meeting last week in person, and I'm a little fearful that reading the room wasn't a great sampling, considering that perhaps people that aren't comfortable with returning to school weren't at the meeting in person either. So I just hope we're not going down the road of full return just based on that. I know there's been a lot of other research, and I'm curious to see the documents, but just wanted to point out that maybe folks that would be looking at other options may not have been present at that meeting either. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You know, what she said is absolutely true, because, but those people have the option of full remote too.
And I also think the survey results we had did show that there were more than 60%, like 65% that wanted to come back to full.
Yeah.
Completely.
We'll find out after the next one.
Right.
2216.
No comment, thank you.
And I apologize with the weather. I think it has the numbers jumping all over, so it's hard to keep track here. 4860.
Good evening, everyone. This is Jim. Has there been any consideration for those who would like to go through and enroll their children in other alternative learning methods, aside from the remote and or going back full time, whether or not those tuitions would be paid? And then secondly, I'd like to also suggest that because we are in the age of being able to do things online and getting more and more successful at it, I'd like to suggest that a special meeting get held to allow for public comment online, not in person, and allow for a couple of days to digest the document that Eric is going to put out tomorrow, and then I'll offer up a time slot for public comment on that same thing, so that parents can go through and have more information to ultimately make this decision that has to be made in 6 days. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, this is Keisha Morse, Canaan Road. Just wanted to say thank you guys for all your work so far. I appreciate you taking the time and initiative to give us at least a direction tonight, and versus holding off on that. I think that was really helpful, and it eased a lot of my concerns. I want to say I am in support of that full return model that you voted on today. I do want to emphasize, like mentioned earlier, that we pay attention to our special ed kids in our youngest grades, especially during this transition period we're talking about. I would suggest keeping it short, 1 to 2 weeks, until all the kids are into school. But I definitely would say our youngest ones, since they have had the least amount of exposure to actual school, need the most time in the school. So during that transition period, I would just like that to be considered.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
1077.
No comment, thank you.
Thank you. 9098.
Yes, hi, this is Emily Stickney at Point Trinity. And there's a lot of comments, people not coming to last week's meeting because they probably were thinking of other options. And I am, for one person, not able to come last week because I had to move my job to second shift due to what's going on. So I could still work and still take care of my children. I just wanted to say that. Thank you.
Thank you. 145.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, this is Kathy Cunningham, the school nurse. How are you guys?
Hey. How are you?
This is very good, very good. Hey, so I'm just calling in regards to, I just want to let everybody know I'm going to need some serious time to get this health office up to where it needs to be. Having, I like to hear about you having a modular and you have a plan for space for isolation and quarantining kind of things. But I have to furnish it. I need to get staffing to be in there. I can't be in two places. I have to maintain several students daily for daily care that I cannot mix and commingle with anybody that I suspect. So there's no way I can just move my office over there completely. So it's going to have to be a two-space thing. I can't be in two places, so I'm asking if there'll be some consideration for staffing. I have to put furniture in there, supplies. PPE is hopefully going to be ordered in the next day or so, but I don't know if it's back ordered. So I just have those concerns and some thought for that. That's all.
We will take that all into consideration. Kathy, we have been talking about it, and we are taking that all in consideration. We want to get you help, but we'll be talking about it at the next meeting. Okay.
Awesome. I appreciate that. My summer is limited as well because I am also working. Okay. So, and getting a kid off to college. So, there's a lot of work that needs to be done, and I don't know if I'm going to have the hands to be able to do it. So just wanted to let that out there.
Okay. And if there are things, once we get that modular in place, if there are things you need moved, we have Gary and his crew to move anything that you have done. You just have to give them a list of what you want done. Okay.
Okay. Is there any consideration for staffing?
You say staffing?
Yes, please. Help.
Yes, there is. Absolutely. Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Can I ask if Kathy would be willing to shoot this board an email of kind of some specifics of what she feels her needs are?
Sure. Yeah. I don't have anybody's email, but I'm sure Kathy can help me with that.
Okay. I think we as a board would be, I know it would help me to know equipment needs, staffing needs, space needs, manpower. What is it exactly? Because I think Kathy and her role in this school is going to make or break this being successful.
Well, thank you. I'm worried about maintaining, my medical fragile kids. True. If they decide to come to school or whatever, that they literally consume most of my day on a day-to-day basis. So to add on top of that, I don't know how I'm going to split in half and then at split bit locations. The logistics are kind of making me go, uh-oh. And
so maybe
and
just
the
get your thoughts on paper. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I plan to do. I'm sure Kathy will give me some emails. I'm just worried about the time frame too. I'm not sure I'm going to have enough time at this point to procure everything. That's all.
Okay.
Kathy, if you send, if one Kathy sends the other Kathy the school board email address, I can send it to everyone.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
9888.
Hi, Ryan Jackson, 218 Wig Hill Road. Just a couple concerns. First of all, my first concern is why this meeting is not in person tonight. Last meeting was in person, and I don't understand why this one couldn't be. Tonight, before the vote, we were told there's plenty of room in the school. We actually have extra classrooms, and we're able to do this safely if 20% stay home. And then the next thing, we're making a motion to have a modular installed. So I don't understand that whole concept. And the past two meetings, I've heard from the school nurse that she doesn't have the staffing, she doesn't have the PPE, she doesn't have anything that she needs to make this full opening happening. COVID doesn't scare me, but putting my kids back to school does. Thank you.
Okay. You do have the option of full remote, but thank you for your question.
5020. 5020. 9416. 9416. Hello? 9183. (9183). Okay. 5552. Public comment 5552. Sorry, I'm losing a few again here.
Hello?
Hello, sorry, when the numbers change, I'm trying to follow on the side, and when people get kicked off, I lose track of where I am. And so it's hard for me to find the next one. 8361.
No comment.
Thank you. 8677.
No comment.
Thank you. 8255.
Yeah, hello, this is Don Nichols on Terry Court. Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So, yeah, what I want to say is that this is a big step, especially if we're going back full time. I'd like to see some guidance from parents as far as exposure at the home, what they're doing to keep their children safe and keep other children safe. I'd just like to see some type of guidelines.
Thank you.
Thank you. 5436. I already do that one. One 1595. Okay. 4728. 4728.
No comment.
Thank you. 8876.
No comment.
Thank you. 7826.
Hi, Cynthia Wighill. I know Kathy at the last meeting had spoken about if someone in the upper grades gets it, there's a possibility of sending like 4 of the kids surrounding that student home in the upper grades, and then the lower grades possibly sending the whole class. I'm just wondering if COVID is in the building somewhere, is the community of the school going to be notified, like all the kids that go there, so they can make that choice at that time to say, I'm not taking any chances from this point on, I'm going remote now? Just wondering how that would work.
Well, as long as we follow HIPAA guidelines, we'll be able to do that.
Okay, thank you. That is addressed in the plan that we will put out as soon as I can.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. 981. 3981.
No comment.
216.
No comment.
Thank you.
Everybody has.
7130.
I already come.
Oh, I'm sorry. And I might, if I call you a second time, I apologize. I'm doing my best. 2577.
You already called on me.
Okay, I thought so. I'm sure that I have missed some folks because the numbers are jumping all over. Mr. Patrick, I'm trying. people are getting kicked off left and right, and it moves them all over the place. So I don't know if there's a way, if people could raise their hand to let me know if they wanted to make a comment, if you know how to do that on.
Yeah, well, Kathy, you've done an outstanding job. It's tough doing what you're doing at this point. This is, like I said before, a very unusual night with everybody's power being out, and we wanted to continue to give some direction. What I would like to say is that we will be meeting on the 12th. We'll decide whether that's face-to-face or whether it's remote. The reason remote tonight was we might have
Work
had.
is in her answer. You want her to?
Somebody else is talking.
We do have one person who did raise their hand, Mr. Patrick, so I will try to see if that person can unmute.
Go ahead.
Okay, I think it's Lisa Dillingham.
Oh, Lisa, you're sounding out real.
Can you hear me okay?
Now I can. Before you sound like, yeah, before you were in
Can you hear me?
Yeah, hello.
Can you hear me at all?
Yeah.
Okay, if you can still hear me, that's good. And maybe I missed something, and if I did, I'm going to apologize for in advance. But I have a real concern about how do we make an accurate decision about whether or not we want to keep our kids remote without knowing what the plan is for a remote instruction.
Well, those details will be ironed out at the next meeting, Lisa. That's what we've been saying.
If we're going to be forced to make a decision by the 10th, that really doesn't give us any insight into what we're making a decision about.
I do think there is a portion of the plan that will be placed on the website does have a portion about remote instruction. I mean, it's not as detailed as, that the final plan will be like, but there is a section about the remote instruction in the plan.
Okay, I look forward to seeing it.
Thank you.
Welcome.
And I think that's it I can call on.
That's it?
I think so.
I want to thank everyone that attended, all the parents and teachers and staff that attended tonight, even during this storm and power outage. Like we've been saying over and over again, we're going to meet on the 12th. The document that Debbie asked for will be out as soon as we can, and hopefully we're going in the correct direction for our students, staff, and for the community. So, is there anything else for public session at this time?
I just wanted to say, Bruce, in case people they didn't get a chance to ask their question or make their comment, they can email the school board at schoolboard@strafford.k12.nh.us. Every email that we've received since our last meeting has been sent to all board members, and so any other comment you have will be sent to all board members.
That's great. Thank you. Hey, Kathy, did you have something on public?
I think so, yes.
You do? Okay. We need a motion and a second to go into non-public session, and we'd have to ask everybody else to step up. So.
Under what? Personnel?
Yeah,
it's a personnel.
Okay.
So is that A?
Yes.
I move that we go into non-public at 7:30 under RSA 92, Roman number 2A.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to go into non-public session. Debbie?
Yes.
Misty?
Yes.
Erica?
Yes.
And myself, yes. We're going to go into non-public session under the statute that Erica read. Our next meeting will be August 12th. We'll decide whether that's going to be in person or remote. Stay tuned for that. And Kathy, you're going to have to make sure that it's just the board now meeting in non-public.
Yep, I will let you know when I've done all the moving.
Perfect.
I think I changed everybody's names, so I know you guys. If you end up missing someone, you'll just have to let me know. Okay, so let's see. According to this, I see SAU 44, which is Scott, Misty, Erica, Deb, Bruce, and myself. Does that seem right?
That's it. Yeah.
Recording. And we are recording again.
Is everybody back in?
Yes.
Okay, so during non-public session, no votes were taken. Personnel was discussed. Is there anything else for public meeting at this time? Before we adjourn, we decided that the next meeting will be a live meeting for school board members. There'll be a workshop. Therefore, public will not be there, but will be live streamed to the public at the workshop. Any questions that the public have can email them to us before the meeting, and we'll try to answer them after we get through with our plan. We're going to be working on the plan for full attendance at school eventually, and that's what we're doing for the next. Anything else?
Well, just for clarity, the reason that we're doing this is to increase accessibility for everybody.
Yes, that's
the
exactly
live streaming is to increase accessibility for folks.
Right, and it's just like a budget workshop. It's a planning workshop for the return to school. So it is not a meeting where public can attend. We will live stream it so as many people as possible can see it. Okay. Any other questions? Anything else for public session?
No, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I was waiting for you. Okay. Motion to we have a motion and a second. Debbie?
She left her phone.
She left. Okay. Misty?
Yes.
Erica?
Yes, at 8:07.
Yes, thank you. And myself, yes, I want to thank everybody that attended tonight, everybody that had questions, and hopefully we're making the right decision for our school, our community, our staff, and all the students. So thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Rooney, for being here tonight. Kathy, thank you for orchestrating this tonight. We appreciate everybody's help.
Thank you, guys.
Okay.
Right.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
All right, we are adjourned. Bye-bye.